You're listening to the Renegade Blitz podcast, a podcast for Steelers fans by Steelers fans. Follow us on Twitter at Renegade Blitz, read articles on renegadeblitz.com, and like us on Facebook. I'm Ty Polk, joined by Chris Ward. Glad to have you with us with another special episode. And Chris, we've been trying to get this interview in for about a week or so like that, but it's really important because we get to see one of the guys who is very close to a couple of the Pittsburgh Steelers and really key towards whatever development they'll show in this really crucial year for the Steelers.
Yeah, the Route God, if you follow him on Twitter, Instagram, James Everett is his real name. But he trains Diontae Johnson, Cam Sutton, and also Ray McCloud. But mostly his videos this offseason have been of Cam Sutton and Diontae Johnson. And it was a real good interview to get the perspective on what it is like to be a trainer. And ended that he trained some big-time players in the NFL. And then jump in there and name the names because I couldn't remember all of them.
Aguilar, Samuel, so many names. It's really surprising, but it seems like, again, his big focus was Johnson and Sutton, and also he trains Ray McCloud as well. So, it's interesting to see this because we get a little bit, technical into this interview, and it's a nice change of pace because, we're talking to people that are, covering the team, some of them announcing the team, others are just bloggers like us. But this one was interesting because we get into the technicalities of what makes an NFL player, be the great at what he is. And that difference, that little bit of difference between, a good player and a great player are done by these guys. And I think we have to give these guys a lot of credit towards the success of whatever they do in the next season and beyond.
Yeah, and he had a lot of good lifestyle tips too about talking about growing up in Florida and how big of a culture it is with football, and how sometimes when they're done with college or whatever, they kind of give up on their aspirations of going to the NFL or something. And he just talked about the whole mindset of the whole thing, and it was really good, positive information. And he actually grew up with Diontae Johnson, Ray McCloud in Tampa Bay also. And Cam Sutton, he's from Georgia, but he got connected with them through, Johnson and everything. He said they followed each other on Instagram, and that's how it came all about, where he started training Sutton.
Yes, it's another great interview on this podcast, and we're really excited to hear from the Route God. And joining us now is the Route God, James Everett. He's been training with Steelers cornerback Cam Sutton and wide receiver Diontae Johnson in Tampa this offseason. James, thanks for coming on the show.
Appreciate y'all. Thanks for having me, man.
So how did you get your start as a trainer for receivers and cornerbacks? What do you focus the most in your training sessions?
Overall, it's movement to me. I go in, I study how somebody moves, at what position they move at, and kind of come up with drills that implement those same transitions and stuff like that in the game. How I got started was myself, like I faced an injury, I had a knee injury, tore my MCL, and it was nothing that surgery could fix. It was just an overtime thing, but I had a hard time getting that confidence and everything back. So I just started doing drill work and stuff on the field by myself. People were telling me they wanted to come out and work with me. And then somebody put it in my ear that, you should make this a career. You're pretty good at it and everything like that. And I learned, over time, it's not even about being good at making drills or even finding the right movements and stuff like that. You got to be an expert communicator to the guys. I can't train every guy the same. I got to use different ways and different methods to break through to this guy than this other guy. Or some of them might be two peas in a pod. I might knock out two birds with one stone off the same metaphors and off the same teaching. I'm teaching one person, another person could catch on. But usually everybody has their own style of learning, and I have to unlock that while I'm training them or while I'm getting to know them. And usually everybody I train, we really become really tight because it's kind of a brotherhood thing when I'm training. Obviously I get paid for what I do, but it's not more so about the money for me. It's about seeing the guys do better and about the production of the guys when they come to me, because they're trusting me with something that's important. At that level, at the NFL level, that's their livelihood. So if you trusted me with your livelihood, then I definitely got to put my all into you as well.
And Jay, how did you get to know both Sutton and Johnson? I know Johnson's from the Tampa area, and is that how you got to know him? And do you train Ray McCloud also? Because I know he's from the same area as well.
Yeah. I train Ray McCloud too. And Diontae, we all three of us grew up together here in Tampa. Obviously, different sides of the city, but kind of all the central same area. Playing against each other in Little League, playing against each other in high school and everything, going to camps and everything like that. So we all knew each other. Cam was following me on Instagram for a while, and I was following him as well. Got kind of the introduction through DMs, and then obviously good word in his there from Diontae and Ray about me. And then he gave me the shot, gave me the chance to, train him and everything like that. And then we became close, and now, we all three kind of locked in down here in the area.
What are your other clients in the league? I understand that, of course, like with Tampa and with the NFL circle, it's a big circle. So do you have anyone else you're training that isn't a Steeler right now?
It's huge. I have a lot of people. It's got a few Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm training with Jameis Winston as well. Geronimo Allison, Isaiah Rodgers. Trained with Deebo Samuels last year. Brian Edwards. Okay, I got you. I got linebackers Jordan Evans and Devontae Bond. Devontae Bond is a Chicago Bear. Jordan Evans is a Cincinnati Bengal. I got Alden Tate, which is also a Cincinnati Bengal. Nelson Aguilar. He's with the Raiders last year. Now he's with the Patriots. These guys, I either train them or to train them on side as everything that we do. Mike Williams, receiver for the Bengals as well. Obviously Cam Sutton, Josh Pearson, receiver for the Bucks. John Franklin III, quarterback / receiver for the Bucks. Ray McCloud, Diontae Johnson, Byron Pringle, receiver for the Kansas City Chiefs. Ike Brown, a free agent. He was just with the Bills. List goes on and on. We could do this all day because I can just keep going way back. But notable players are pretty much those ones that I named up top. Those are all pretty much starters on their team, and they make an impact and a difference and an influence on where they are. Training these Pittsburgh players are kind of cool, kind of new because the fan base is crazy, and it's like once I started like latching on to them, like their fan base started latching on to me because I'm helping them, and I love it. Like I feel like it's so welcoming and everything. I'm also gonna come up there a few times this year for some games and everything like that, and we also we're gonna hang out and do stuff like that. But yeah, I've been training all those guys that long, and nobody else's fan base has been quite this big or is quite that impressed about what we do in the off season, how we do it, and how it's making their guys better. Because a lot of people see that the proof is in the pudding with the results, and they're just hoping that it comes back full circle when they get in the training camp and when we get to the league to the season.
I was saying, are all those players, are they from Florida, or do they come down to Tampa to train with you?
A lot of those boys that I named are from Florida. The ones that I was naming first, like Nelson's from Tampa, Nelson Aguilar's from Tampa, Alden Tate's from Tampa, Ray's from Tampa, Diontae, Isaiah Rodgers from Tampa, Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie is from Tampa. Like all of those guys, just all be up here. We all vibe, we all hang out, and it's just always like we find joy in making each other better. Like football is where we all connected and where we all found each other. So always that football brotherhood, it brings us together and allow us to train and get better and do what we love to do.
Now, what makes Florida football so good? Because it's probably a lot of people say it's the best state for football. You hear Texas and California also are kind of in there.
I'm gonna give you those three, and I also gotta add Georgia in there.
Georgia.
Gotta add them in there, but we definitely number one. I gotta put that in there. We're number one. I gotta say Cali's number two. Now I go Texas 3. Texas is usually for bigger, for size. Texas is for size. Texas is your big, your linemen, the big quarterbacks and places like that. as far as finesse and skill set, it's out of Florida and California. And then now, like, Georgia is definitely on the rise. Like, a lot of people from Atlanta and definitely outer parts of Georgia and stuff like that. But Florida is the best place for football. And what makes us different is football is year round for us. It's not a sport to us. It's a lifestyle to us. It was a way to make it out. It's not a career to us. It's like growing up. If you don't play football, you're a nobody. You know. So it's just like maybe same thing in some states. It's like, well, why are you like the boys just hang around like who you play for? Who you play for? It's never like some you play for somebody. Whether you start, whether you make an impact or something. If you around and you're in Florida, you play football somewhere, you know. And like I said, there's some places that eat, sleep, and breathe basketball, eat, sleep, and breathe baseball. But Florida makes us special because the whole state is a football state. Like everybody play ball, and like you said, you got your play ball jocks, you got your baseball people, you got whoever, you know, just like in anything. In football, it's always the number one standout. Those are the popular kids. Those are the everybody. Everybody wants to be a football player, you know, at that age, and then all the way going up, and obviously being able to monetize what you do, your skill set, by making money from it and going to the NFL.
Yeah, I was listening to Brian McFadden's podcast. He said they mentioned on there that Little League football in Florida is huge, like the crowds and stuff. It's not like that anywhere else in the country.
Man, Little League football gets so crazy down here, man. We got you might well call that the Hard Rock Casino, man, because they be out there betting big, man. And listen, like those kids don't mess around. You can really tell the kids that eat, sleep, and breathe football, and like that's our state when it comes to Little League. And a lot of it is like the kids knowing that this is my way, you know, to make it out. Like everybody, like. They got this thing where they just like everybody don't have to play football. You can be a doctor, lawyer, whatever it is. You can be whatever you want to be. Yeah, that's true. But there's nothing wrong with being a football player. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be one. There's nothing wrong with striving to be one. You know what I'm saying? And then a lot of people get to that dead end right there, right before they start playing football, just because they didn't make it in the right amount of worldly time or traditional time that everybody usually makes it. Oh, he went K through 12. After K through 12, he went from a freshman to a senior in college. After a senior in college, he got drafted or picked up, and now he's a pro. It doesn't always work like that. And when they get to that point where I didn't get drafted, I didn't get picked up, undrafted free agency this year, I didn't do that. Instead of going back to the drawing board and like working, you know what I'm saying, figuring out where you messed up, trying to find more connections, trying to find your way in and everything like that, a lot of us just give up. And that's one thing we do. Like, and I feel like it's our fault, but I feel like it's the world's fault as well, for feeding us that. And then we also have to blame ourselves for eating that. I'm a person who knows for a fact that you can do anything you put your mind to. I can't put a time limit on success, and everybody's success is different, and everybody's path is different. So you can't really say that, oh, I'm going to make it in this amount of time because he did, or I'm going to use the same recipe he did to get there, and when I don't get there, you just got to understand that everybody's path is not your path. That recipe may not be your recipe. And I feel like Florida, we could be I think right now we do have the most people in the NFL actively, and the most Hall of Famers actually here. But it can be a crazy more amount if we didn't just quit and give up as much. And a lot of that has to do with the homes we come from, the support systems that we have behind us. But like I said, I'm not a person that makes excuses. I just want everybody to know, and everybody who listens to this, like, don't put a time limit on your success and just keep going. No matter, you're going to get 100 no's before you get one yes. You know what I'm saying? No matter what you do, you got to keep going. And if you don't believe it, if you go into a situation and you're not believing it, 9 times out of 10, it's not going to happen.
When it comes to the average NFL fan, they can see the speed of the game, like the speed of some of these wide receivers out here. But I want you to explain how important footwork is for receivers and corners and all the other positions that you train.
Footwork, that's the base of everything. Anything that got to do with movement. I mean, we could take it to I think, most unphysical sport, which is golf. I mean, we swinging, or maybe ping pong or something like that. We still using our feet. We still got to have good hips. We still got to have a good base. to relay that power, to swing the golf club, to swing the bat, to kick a soccer ball, to play hockey. You know what I'm saying? And everything is the fundamentals of footwork. So if I don't have good footwork, good foot placement, good body structure, good everything, good hips, everything's not going to align to where it needs to be. Obviously, different movements in different sports, but everything goes back down to footwork. And being fast, I'm not a fast type of guy. I mean, if somebody's fast, I'm glad. Like, I've never been super fast. I've always been average speed. I've always been all right. Like, and I like my speed because it's controllable. And I tend to look at guys like that, like far as your Stephon Diggs, you got your Keenan Allen and stuff like that. Like your Diontae Adams, they got a nice smooth speed. They're not slow by a long shot, but it's smooth and it's controllable speed. Now somebody like Diontae who is fast, sometimes I do have to slow him down. Sometimes I gotta, take your time because you already got out there that you're a speed threat. So if you already a speed threat, we already got them backing up. So work your craft underneath. Work the top of your brakes. Let's work on swinging our head outside of our brakes. Let's get our head around quicker. Let's drop. Let's get our knees and our shin angles right. Let's do all kind of stuff like that because it's the speed of the game is definitely there. You got to have some type of speed. But if you just all over the place, like I call it, like that little noodle at the car lot that be outside just wiggling. Like if you all over the place, you have no structure. That has no structure, no bones, no nothing. You know what I'm saying? So I need you to have structure when you're on the field. I need you to be able to make cuts and explode. And you can't do that if you just all over the place. So footwork is definitely the main part of everything because we start there and we build up. If somebody already has good footwork, yeah, we're going to tune it up. Yeah, we're going to do something else. But then we also can start working in other areas. But if you come to me with bad footwork or just bad technique overall in general, I got to fix that before I can do anything. And I always relay it back to two people. Like if you two people going to a track coach, okay, and you got both of them are the same speed, but one of them already has a good running form and one of them running form is terrible. The person that already has the good running form, he's going to start learning how to get faster before the person who has the terrible running form because first of all, I got to fix your running form before I can build speed on top of that. I can't put a 50-foot skyscraper on top of a cracked foundation. It's just going to fall over. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
And, the videos you've been uploading this offseason have been great with Diontae Johnson and Cam Sutton. Wondering, what has impressed you the most when working with Diontae Johnson? I know his get off in the line of scrimmage is one of the best in the league.
Bruh just so quick. Now I done built this up and like I know I'm quick. A lot of my followers know I'm quick and everything like that. But you quick when you make me like I'm like, bruh, like you quick, man. Like, bruh, that's his game is quickness. Like he's so sudden. It's like I always say a difference. Like instead of being fast all the time, it's a lot of people who's not fast but they're sudden. So it's just like I always put it in a perspective as if you're relaxed, right? You sit in a relaxed motion. All of us are sitting now. We're on this podcast and everything, and then somebody just starts shooting. Our central nervous system is just going to start ringing, and we're just going to run or do whatever we got to do. Diontae's on the line. He's looking in at the ball, or he's looking at the DB, and when the ball is hiked, it's just so sudden that he knocks the DB off his line so fast that he don't even have time to react. And by that time, when you get a DB in that mode, like panic mode, then they start to mess up everything. Because now once you're in panic mode, I got to play catch up. And when he's playing catch up, now I got you right where I want you. You hate DB. I hate somebody who really know what they're doing because now they know as long as they stay calm, long as they stay patient, long as they stay in front, they have a chance. If they start panicking, they're dead. They're dead in the water every time. His quickness is the most, I got to say his best attribute. It is his quickness.
And also, working with Cam Sutton, he's going to certainly have a big role this season for the Steelers. They're trusting him as the second outside corner, and the betting line's probably the future cornerback number one of the Steelers. Just what kind of impact do you think he'll have next season based on working with him?
My boy definitely going to be calling CB1. He definitely going to be CB1. First quarter, we ain't even going to talk about his skill set. We're going to talk about his mindset. the mindset as far as being CB1 is there. Like, you gotta have a different. I don't care what kind of skill set you have in anything. Like I was saying with the life tips and goals that I was giving to you earlier. If you don't got the mindset, it's not gonna happen. Cam works. Cam want to know why this was wrong, why I was slow, why was I stepping under myself. Can I have done something else faster? Can I do this? And it's not just for the camera, or it's not just for you guys, or for the television network, or just for the whole Pittsburgh organization because they're cutting him a check. It's really because he wants to be great, and that's really hard to come by sometimes because you get a lot of people in that league who's just playing for a check, and that's cool and all. You're gonna play hard, but you don't really put that same effort into a lot of things. Cam mentality is just great, and he's an overall good dude and everything like that. And he comes to work every single time I see him and know him. Now, skill set wise, I've seen him grow. He was already good before he came to me. It's nothing that I did too crazy other than give him reasoning why. Like, why do you move like this? Why you not fast here? Where you could be faster at? Why your hips were so stiff, or why they're open and everything. Now he sees where I was, where I'm going. I see why I was there. All right. And now I see why I'm here. The reason I was there because my top toe wasn't turned this way, or because of that. And then the more you do that, you build repetition. And bruh's moving so good now that anything I throw at him, he's just killing it. He's just destroying it. It's no longer no more talking. It's no longer no more moving slow, no more baby steps, no more training wheels. Cam is ready to be thrown in the fire at CB2 right now, and then possibly CB1 coming up and make a big impact with the Steelers. And I know for a fact that he will, like I said, first of all, because of that mentality. Second of all, he definitely has a skill set because the opportunities that he was given last year, he definitely capitalized. So obviously he did something right to get signed back. So he capitalized on the small opportunities they have. So playing a bigger role, people always say that as if like that's a bad thing. No, it's a great thing. Now I get time to make more plays. That's all that is. Don't look at it as bad. Like now all eyes on me. No, now I got more opportunities to make more plays. I'm gonna keep making plays.
There's a ton of talent on the Steelers, especially at receiver. Is there anyone on the team that you would like to train the most?
Let me see who on the team real quick. I want to get with Juju and Claypool. They bigger bodies, they bigger frames, and they move well. They move good. They got big catch radiuses and everything like that. They're big body receivers. But what I tell my big body receivers that I do train already, it's just because you're a big body receiver, don't let them label you as a big body receiver. And they do a lot of big body receiver stuff. And I would like to see them get more involved in little things. You know what I'm saying? Like the reverses they was giving Ray and everything like that. Obviously those are Ray plays and his carries and everything like that and what he brings to the team. But obviously everybody has a role on the team, but I just don't want them to get confined on just being called a big receiver. Like I want to give them some wiggle. Like I want to pretty sure they're already quick. I know they already got a stride. They're already fast. They're already strong. But there's nothing wrong with just having more wiggle, having more feet, just having more head and shoulders in the top of your route or on the release or in between or whatever it is. I just want to, like, give them that same, like, just think about Juju and Claypool with the same suddenness that Diontae has. Crazy. You know what I'm saying? And that's just obviously all I'm trying to do. Because even when I teach or even when I show, I always tell whoever I'm showing the teaching to make that movement you, okay? After we learn the movement, after we teach it, after we go through the techniques, and after we do the things like that, be me in that movement. Make it work for you. Can't play football if you're not comfortable. You can't do anything if you're not comfortable. If you're uptight, if you're indecisive about what you're doing, you just have to be comfortable in every situation in order to get the best you out of the situation. You know what I'm saying? So definitely those two because they're one and the same. They're both big body receivers, and I just want to see them get jiggy a little bit more.
I'll have to ask you. Last question here is, what's it like to train Ray McCloud, and what do you expect from him this year?
First of all, I think he owe us two or three kick touchdowns right now because he got caught.
Yeah, he almost took it to the house there.
Yeah, I know he owe y'all, but he owe us in Tampa because we rooting for him. We want him to score. He definitely owed us about 2-3 touchdowns. But I'm expecting a big year from him too, man. Like I'm talking about, he in the lab too. He working and he found his place like in Pittsburgh. And like I was saying earlier, I'm gonna touch on that again. Like Ray Ray bounced around to 2 other teams before he got to Pittsburgh. You know, he was drafted by the Bills, went to Carolina. That didn't work out, and then he came here. And in between that time, obviously he worked out for a few other teams. And Brad never gave up. He just kept going, kept working hard and everything like that. And that's good to see, because now he finally found his system that he fits in. And he got there and immediately started being an impact to the team. You know what I'm saying? And obviously that's why they signed him back, because they see something in him. But as far as his production this year, I want him to get more receiver touches as well, because he definitely a playmaker with the ball in his hand. You can see that. But as far as y'all return game, he definitely gonna have that on lock for the whole Pittsburgh Steelers organization. And he's gonna be that guy you don't want to kick it to in the near future. Like, it's gonna start trying to get some more offensive plays, or Tomlin's gonna start to try to just implement him more somewhere else, because he ain't gonna be getting the ball back there too much longer. Because you see, just anytime the ball in the air and in his hands, is like, okay, let's stand up, because something might happen. You know what I'm saying? You don't really get that feeling from too many other people. It's just like that's so regular. Like, catch a few yards, tackle. You know, catch, get to the 20, tackle. When the ball is in his hands, he's liable to make something happen. So that's always a good thing. So I expect him to have a good, productive year. All of the guys actually that I work with, or even the ones that I don't, that's a good organization, got a good fan base, and that's a lot of love in that city. So far as for the football team. So I definitely know they love playing there. I know they love the fans. They always talk about y'all all the time. I can't wait to come up there, because Batman, I love Batman, and I know that's Gotham City, so I definitely got to come up there and see what's up with it. Go and recreate some scenes or something like that.
I know one of them's at the City County building, and of course another's at Heinz Field, so trust me, you'll see the sights out there.
Definitely. Yeah, I can't wait to get out there, man.
But also, the interesting thing, the last 2 Steelers to score kick returns or punt returns, Florida boys, AB and Diontae. So hopefully Ray can add one more to the total. But Chris, you got anything else?
Add a couple more. He owes, I'm telling you.
Oh, believe me, we were talking about on the podcast. All right, and that's the route god, James Everett. James, thanks so much for this interview, man. Truly appreciate it.
Always. I appreciate y'all for having me, man. Anytime, keep getting these boys right for y'all, man. We're going to have another good year.
And that was our interview with the route god, James Everett. You can follow him on Twitter at route god. And once again, we thank him for coming on the show. So, Chris, it's time to give a little bit of updates on the happenings in the NFL and really what's involved with Pittsburgh and current and former players for the Steelers. And, well, James Conner has found a new home, and it's with another team that I'm familiar with, the Arizona Cardinals. And I think it's going to be a good 1-year contract, fully guaranteed, $500,000 salary bonus. He's going to make $1.25 million. And I think he actually has a shot at getting a starting job over Chase Edmonds. They'll certainly compete in the backfield there, but James Conner, it's going to be a nice change of pace, a nice change of scenery for a guy that's, well, been rooted in Western Pennsylvania. He's not a Pittsburgh guy like some guys want to say. He went to Erie McDowell. He lived up in Erie. He went to college in Pittsburgh. There is a difference. He's a Western Pennsylvania guy, but that's different.
Did you see that on Twitter? Or I saw someone mention saying that you're not a Pittsburgh guy if you grew up 3 hours north of, or whatever the distance is from Erie to Pittsburgh. But no, nevertheless, he spent the last 8 years in Pittsburgh, 4 at Pitt and 4 with the Steelers. And yeah, you're right. It's going to be he mentioned that in his press conference with the Cardinals, how, it's going to be interesting for him to see a new part of the country. And, he said he enjoys the sun and, he's out there in the desert now, in Arizona. So it's a completely different type of lifestyle out there than, Western PA.
Whenever the national televised schedule decides to put a Cardinals game on, I'll be watching him because I still want to see him do well. That's my secondary team.
Yeah, Pittsburgh West. Yeah, and I agree. I think that's a good landing spot for him because he could become the number 1 running back there. And he's getting pretty, he's not getting a lot of money, but I mean, he's getting what he's kind of worth, he has to prove that he can stay healthy, and he's dealing with like a toe injury right now. Did you hear about that? He got surgery on it, but he injured it on a ATV accident.
Huh. That's unfortunate. Well, we hope that
he should be ready by June, they said. So,
that's good for him. So hopefully he has a healthy season, because I still think he can still carve out a niche as a mid-tier running back out there, a guy that can allow you to do some things out there. I think he's going to be just fine in Arizona. And now also other Steelers news, Sean Davis, he signed a deal with Indianapolis. So that's another Steeler gone off the list. But the return of Vince Williams. That's right, folks. Vince Williams is back on a 1-year deal. He turned down opportunities to go other places, and he wants to be in Pittsburgh. So it's another win for the middle linebacker depth of the Steelers, and it's inching ever so closely to the rightful pick in the first round of a running back.
You have to wonder if they're going to pick maybe a late round guy, but it doesn't seem as much as a need now with bringing back Vince Williams, and it looks like they're going with Spillane as the other starter opposite of Devin Bush. But Vince Williams is a veteran guy. He's great against the run. He had 14 tackles for losses last year, which was actually a career high for him. He's great at blitzing and getting sacks. But, his coverage abilities have always been a knock on him. But you think this is it for Vince Williams? Because I know Jeremy Fowler of ESPN said that Williams mentioned to him that after the 2021 season that he might retire and get into coaching. So you have to wonder, and you think that his contract's going to come on the cheap too here, because they released him last month, saving $4 million in cap space.
Well, I did mention on this podcast it could potentially be a Mariota situation where he doesn't get what he wants out there on the open market, but I believe it's a different situation that, again, he just wanted to come back to Pittsburgh. It's more Juju Smith-Schuster than Marcus Mariota. So it's a good thing for him, and there's still a lot of questions about guys retiring. We're still waiting to see if the shoe will drop from the other foot for Alejandro Villanueva, and so could it be a situation where he potentially retires as a Steeler and sticks around in some sort of consultant role as a linebackers coach? Hopefully, a more successful version of Joey Porter. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind it.
Vince Williams was, like we mentioned, he got released, and we thought Alou was going to Jacksonville, and then, he decided not. He agreed to terms with him, but he never signed, and he re-signed the Steelers. So, at first we thought they lost 5 defensive starters from last year. Now it's down to 3 with Mike Hilton, Bud Dupree, and Steven Nelson. And speaking of Steven Nelson, this kind of happened last week, but did you hear about his interview about talking about why he got released by the Steelers? And he said it was solely it was a cap related move.
I imagine it was a cap move with that, because it kind of checks out with this, but there was also a question of Nelson wanted to get money eventually, and he wanted to be an outside corner. He didn't want to go inside or anything like that, or become the number 3 nickel guy. That's not his skill set or anything like that. And I don't blame him. I think he could he have competed and potentially got traded anyway out of Pittsburgh by training camp or something like that. That's another thing. And of course it's different whenever you go into training camp and it's past draft season and stuff like that. And he wanted to see if he can get some Adoree Jackson money. And I don't know if anyone could get that right now, especially at this point of the off season. He's going to be another guy that probably waits until after the draft settles down and teams realize, we didn't get enough cornerback depth, but Steven Nelson's there, so let's sign him.
Yeah, it was kind of a confusing situation because Dale Lally of TK Pittsburgh Sports reported that Nelson didn't want to compete with Cam Sutton for the starting spot, and that was part of the reason why he got released. And then Nelson reached out to Dale Lally, and he said that that wasn't the case, and basically repeated what he said in his interview on Sirius XM NFL Radio. So, now Nelson, he mentioned on his interview that he asked for extension, and they wouldn't give it to him he wanted a contract extension, and they didn't want to give it to him. Then they never mentioned a pay cut, which it kind of didn't really make sense because, well, he wants an extension, so that means more money, but he's mad that they're not asking him for a pay cut.
That's just how the NFL is. It's a very strange league that we don't understand at all.
Yeah.
We barely understand cap issues, so I'm not going to understand what a man wants to do with his career and what he wants to do with his money and what he wants to do with his opportunities. Regardless, Steve, it was a great 2 years. You know, there was a lot of memories. I think you did okay in comparison to most people saying that he did bad this second year just because the Bills torched him. That's corners in this league. Some days you're on one, other days you're off one, and he was on more often than he was off. Yeah,
he did mention during his interview that he has no ill will towards the Steelers and understands the business decision, but he did say that he has a boulder on his like not a chip but a boulder, so he's definitely going to take that as extra motivation.
Well, hopefully it's not like the boulder he had for the Chiefs organization, us seeing those tweets sometimes, but we're glad. We're glad about
what
it.
What it pretty much came down to was that the Steelers just they valued Hayden and Sutton more than Nelson, and they didn't want to pay him whatever he wanted as a contract extension, or it was a strictly business move. The Steelers like Hayden. His birthday's today, so he's 32 now, but he still can play at a high level, and they like Sutton a lot, and they must have a lot of confidence in James Pierre and Justin Lane at that number 3 or number 4 cornerback spot.
Well, there's a lot of things we still have to get done over this offseason and the final couple weeks before the draft. We still have to do our mock draft podcast, which is going to be very interesting. We are currently acquiring the guests for that, and it's going to be a great podcast. It'll be our first true mock drafts covering this as people who actively have to at least look somewhat smart, I'd say, Chris.
Yeah. Somewhat knowledgeable in the draft.
Yeah, as you can see, we're very excited. We're very nervous. We hope you like it. We hope you don't come at us, troll us, or anything like that. But if you do, you can always do it at Blitzburg.
Yeah, at Renegade Blitz on Twitter.
Yes, please come at us there. If you want to come at me with at PREZ_ Ty Polk, please do, but please be gentle. But anyway, that's all for us here. For Chris Ward, I'm Ty Polk. Thank you for tuning in to the Renegade Blitz. Thank you for listening to the Renegade Blitz podcast. Follow us on Twitter at Renegade Blitz, read articles on renegadeblitz.com, and like us on Facebook. Our podcast is available on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, Stitcher, YouTube, iHeart, and Spotify.